because by CNN's count, when you look at 32 school shootings since 2020, in which you have 4 or more people who have been killed, so these are the larger school shootings, only 3 of 32 of those shootings were committed by transgender shooters.
Yeah, forgive me if I don't go with CNN stats, okay? CNN has proven itself to be wholly inaccurate in all kinds of things for the last 10 years, perpetrators of the Russia hoax, and that we didn't have an open border. So please forgive me if I don't take your stats for granted. A couple of years, we have seen 7 mass shootings involving people of transgender
male pronouns and used anti-LGBT.
You have an agenda.
Rhetoric.
Guys, we got to talk about this soulless CNN anchor getting absolutely cooked by base Sebastian Gorka. I love whenever this guy goes on TV, bring Sebastian on more because he don't take no mess from nobody. This is the conversation directly about this trans shooter who just shot up a Catholic school out in Minneapolis, Minnesota. And all the leftists are doing massive damage control, basically taking up for the trans person and the trans community rather than the poor victims that were Catholics who were literally praying while this incident occurs. This has been happening more and more and more. Oh my gosh, we got to take up for and protect the trans community. They need us now more than ever, even though Christians are literally under attack. It doesn't make any sense. These people are crazy. Gorka calls it out. Now, this is a longer clip. I'm going to try not to interrupt it. I can't promise, though, because if I get triggered, then I got something to say. But it's a longer clip, so I'm going to go ahead and react to the entire thing. Let's get into it.
Joining us now to talk more about this investigation is White House Senior Director for Counterterrorism, Sebastian Gorka. Sir, thank you so much for being with us. We're hearing the Minneapolis Police Department saying Friday that authorities have been in contact with the shooter's parents. What are they telling them? What is being learned from the parents?
Well, it would not be responsible of me to reveal what is happening in an ongoing investigation, but we have to put this incident into the broader context of what we've witnessed in just the last few years. More than half a dozen attacks of a similar variety involving individuals who are confused about their gender, to put it mildly. And then, as you mentioned at the top of your monologue, we have the videos, we have the statements from the dead shooter that were clearly anti-Christian, just as with the transgender attack on the Nashville Christian school in which more children were killed. There is an ideological connection to multiple of these attacks where innocent children, especially Christians and Catholics, are targeted, and that is very, very disturbing.
One of the things that I know is that they're not going to want to acknowledge the ideological attack. They're going to say, well, hey, you can't target specific groups of people. That's wrong. But what they will do is say, well, you could target straight white men if they're attacking schools, or if they're doing anything, if they're just existing, you could target them. But hey, it's wrong to target any other group when there's a clear pattern that you recognize. You can't do that.
Focus very much on this shooter being trans, and I do want to speak with you about that. But while I respect that you cannot reveal specifics about what the parents may be saying, can you characterize whether what they're saying is helpful?
No, I cannot do that. That would be utterly inappropriate from a policy position in the White House. We leave that to the local police authorities and to the FBI. Okay,
so let me ask you about this. 96% of attackers when you're looking at the U.S. Secret Service National Threat Assessment Center, looking at 172 mass attacks in the U.S. between 2016 and 2020, 96% were non-trans men. So I know you're focusing on this shooter being trans.
So let's break this down real quick. Did she say 2016 to 2020? So this person deliberately left out. Sebastian earlier said in recent years. This person deliberately stopped at 2020 so that they could get this 96% number. You see how these people operate, guys? I'm a numbers guy. You're not going to fool me easily with numbers. This person literally is coming up with a statistic to make some sort of point to get in people's heads who are too stupid to actually, think critically and do an analysis of the numbers. And Sebastian is about to cook her for it. Let's watch.
being trans. The shooter was trans, and that is certainly of note. But are you missing the bigger picture here when you zero in on that instead of more broadly these school shooters as an epidemic, and you perhaps miss the through line that connects them all?
Well, no, because your facts obfuscate two things. You are using data based upon the predominant gun violence, which is gang-on-gang violence with zero ideological content. If you remove all of that, the gang violence on the streets of Chicago, LA, Detroit, then you come down to a much smaller data set. So it's like those who say, you know, gun violence in America causes so many deaths, and then fail to note that the majority of the stats they are using refer to also suicides by gun, which of course is not what we are talking about here today. So let's concentrate on mass shootings at schools, specifically Christian or Catholic schools. Then the data set is wholly different. So don't conflate different data sets just to make a political point. There was an ideological content to this attack. That's what terrorism is. It's not because somebody didn't get the drug deal they wanted. It is an ideological message, whether it was anti-Israel, as in this case, whether it targeted President Trump in its rhetoric, as we saw on one of the magazines written by the perpetrator on that YouTube video, or whether we saw the fact that it was anti-Christian and targeting children. That has nothing to do with gang violence. Let's not mix the two things up.
So let's narrow it down then, because by CNN's count, when you look at 32 school shootings since 2020, in which you have 4 or more people who have been killed, so these are the larger school shootings, only 3 of 32 of those shootings were committed by transgender shooters.
So again, look at the numbers here. 4 deaths or more. This is what they classify as a mass shooting in this statistic, which many of them are classified differently. But the shooting that just occurred didn't even have 4 deaths. So you know that this literally doesn't even count. According to their data, this doesn't even count as a mass shooting. And 20 kids were shot. Can you guys believe how these people finesse the number? Guys, don't believe any numbers that you hear anymore about anything. Just hear them and then think about them and see if they make sense to you, because as you can see, these people will lie about anything. 2 children were killed, and according to CNN, fake news, those children don't count as being a part of a mass shooting. That's how crazy these people are, guys.
Yeah, forgive me if I don't go with...
Not to mention the other 20 kids who were shot and didn't die.
CNN stats, okay? CNN has proven itself to be wholly inaccurate in all kinds of things for the last 10 years, perpetrators of the Russia hoax, and that we didn't have an open border. So please forgive me if I don't take your stats for granted.
All right, it's simple math. 2 of 32
No, it's
shootings.
not. It's distortions. You are distorting the facts. Let me be clear. In just a couple of years, we have seen 7 mass shootings involving people of transgender nature or who are confused in their gender. 7
I saw what
in
you
just
tweeted.
the last couple of years.
I see
That
your
is
list of 7.
inordinately high. So
I see your
please,
list of 7. 2 of them
I'm
are
going to see.
Sebastian and
I'm going to
Mr.
stick
Gorka.
with the facts and not CNN's pseudo facts.
We can't stick with your facts because they're not accurate. In fact, in 2 of them, one of the ones you quoted.
Let's talk about CNN's reputation for accuracy.
In one of the ones in which you posted, there was no evidence that he was trans.
Right.
In another, the individual was known within his family by male pronouns and used anti-LGBT
You have an agenda.
rhetoric. No, well, let me ask you this. You've made it clear, and this is not going to change. You think transgender people are the problem here. So what specifically do you think should be done?
No. When did I say that?
All right, you clearly think
When did I say that,
you
Brianna?
think it's a pattern?
You
You've tweeted
just
about
created live. You just created live fake news. You just did it right in front
Mr.
of the
Gorka,
small
what do you
viewership
think
you
should be
have,
done here?
okay?
You have zeroed in on the fact, on what you see is a problem, what you claim is a problem. What do you want to do about it? What do you want to do about this problem you see?
I have noticed a disturbing. Do you think it's a problem that individuals are targeting little children at Catholic schools. Do you think that's something we should ignore?
Of course, I think that's a problem.
Thank you. So what we should do is we should look at the early warning signals, the signs. One of these shooters at a recent school shooting had 24 interactions with the local law enforcement. Now, that beggars belief. We should be providing off-ramps. We should be providing mental health options for these individuals. I find it hard to believe that an individual goes from getting his mother to sign a change of name certificate age 17, and then just a handful of years later is mowing down innocent children in a church pew during a Catholic mass, and nobody realized there was a problem. That's what we have to address to save the next children from the next atrocity. It's not about...
This is one of the things about, it's very unfortunate truth about just this world in general, guys. It just, I don't know if it's just around the planet or just in America, but I know it's in a lot of places. You can put more money into mental health, it's just going to be laundered. Money's put into mental health all the time. There's not really like a shortage of funds for mental health. It's just that there's never enough for whatever reason, because money gets shifted around. They use it on other things. People probably are pocketing the money. Who knows what the heck they're doing with it? It's not that there's a shortage. There's also laws in place where you can't just take people's guns away. You have to have a reason for it, like they actually committed a crime, not that you think they're going to commit a crime. So that's an issue in of itself. And you have the fact that they could fund as many mental health facilities and all these different people that they hire on staff and all these different resources. But if nobody knows about them, or the resources run out because they keep laundering the money and using it on a bunch of other nonsense, it effectively just never really get anywhere. So I don't know, guys. It's a very tough solution, but I know what the solution is not, and it's not just taking everybody's Second Amendment rights away.
Out the sexual proclivities of the individual, it's the fact that nobody seems to notice a very disturbing pattern towards violence. You don't wake up one morning saying, I'm going to do a video on YouTube threatening to kill the president, targeting Jews, targeting children. That doesn't happen overnight. Somebody saw that degradation, somebody saw those mental issues and said nothing. That's what we have to prevent. The early warning signals must be addressed if children's lives are to be saved.
And what about all the non-trans school shooters?
What about all the same thing happens?
This guy, in this comment, he didn't even mention. There was no mention. He just was specifically addressing mental health. This doesn't apply to people that shoot up other schools that are not trans people. Like, this lady is retarded.
Have multiple interactions with authorities, with their schools, with the principals. Why is something not being done? Instead of blaming an inanimate object, which is the weapon, how about addressing the human being instead and giving them aid, giving them psychological support, giving them an off-ramp? That's what needs to happen. We need to stop the violence before it occurs.
This lady is a nut job, guys. Brianna Keilar got cooked. Why you had to do her like that, okay? You can tell she was fuming on the inside. She's like, oh man, Sebastian's cooking me. I'm gonna get clipped online. I'm gonna wind up on the Black Anomaly Rising channel video. You can tell she was salty. Guys, let me know what you think. Do you think that you buy into the statistics that Keilar said, where they only count mass shooting as a mass shooting if it was 4+ deaths? So this shooting that just occurred doesn't count. The 20 kids shot, oh well, too bad. You're disqualified, children. You think that you go along with that because it suits the narrative, or do you think that this lady and a lot of the people capturing these stats are cooking the books? Let me know what you guys think. Drop a like on the video. Subscribe to the channel if you're new. I appreciate you watching Black Anomaly Rising channel. I'm out.
Horrendous frauds on CNN.
We have scum that's in this group. We have scum. CNN is scum.